lot of final girls in horror, but if you put them all in the same movie, who would actually make it out? So they'll be sorted in how I think they'll end up at the end of the movie. And don't worry, I know that fighting Ghostface is very different from fighting a demon, so I did take that into account when making my decisions. So our first final girl is Erin from You're Next. Well, for Erin, she's very famous for being a very badass final girl who actually doesn't do anything stupid throughout the whole movie. So I think for her it's quite easy. She was a survivalist. She was raised as a survivalist. She showed throughout her whole movie that she has the skills and she can overpower many people because she is like the badass final girl in modern horror. I think she's a very easy final girl because she is just that good. Next is Needy from Jennifer's Body. Now Needy in the beginning comes off as a bit insecure and very timid, and she's very scared and lives in Jennifer's shadow. But at the end of the movie she turns into a badass and she sticks up for herself and she actually defeats Jennifer in the end. But I think she has also been quite lucky in her movie, and she literally, maybe she had to fight a succubus, but it was still her best friend. And that best friend had a soft spot for her. If she didn't, I don't think she would have gotten away. So I think I will put her in Stabbed. Because I don't think she's the weakest of them all, but I do think she will definitely get stabbed on the way to the end. Now next we have Laurie from Halloween. This is a classic final girl. This is the final girl of the final girls. I mean, you can't do a tier list without Laurie. For Laurie, she is definitely not one of those that's like not scared of anything. She does have her badassness, but she is also very sensitive and she is terrified. So she is realistic. And you wouldn't think Michael Myers is that badass of a villain, but he keeps coming back and she keeps fighting him off and she finds ways to survive him and she just keeps surviving him. So I think she's not physically or per se intellectually, especially in the beginning, the smartest. So I wouldn't put her in final girl, even though she might be the ultimate final girl. I will put her in punched because I think she will get a punch here and there, but I think at the end of the day, if they were all in a movie together, she would just get punched and somehow find a tactic to defeat the villain. Now for Clear, she has been put in a position where she doesn't know what to expect because the villain is literally dead itself. And I mean, at the end of the day, she did die in the second movie, spoiler alert. She doesn't have particular skills of anything, but she does know how to escape weird situations where she might put herself in danger. She has that skill because she never knew where to expect death to come from. So for that, I think she has a very strong chance of actually getting through with it. But I don't think she's the strongest on this list whatsoever. I just think she has that more of a broad way to survive, that she will find a way to survive better than most or some of the people in this list. So I will put her in Stabbed. Now we have Ellen of Alien, my ultimate horror feminist girl. This is a character that, oh my god, the world needed this, and especially the time when it came out, wow. But come on. She has survived stuff that most of these final girls have not had to endure, and she just keeps going, and she's intelligent, but she's also vulnerable, which I also just love in a character in general, when they're not just badasses, but they can also be sensitive and vulnerable with her cats. And so I will put her as final girl, because for me, she is one of the ultimate final girls out there. And now we have Iris from Companion. Well, Iris is technically not human, so it might be unfair to put her in any of these, but she does survive her movie very smartly. I mean, it is a robot, so there's not a lot of things holding her back. I just don't think she's the most strong because she isn't human. A lot of things that might make some of these final girls better than her, she doesn't have. But also she has things that the other girls don't have because she's a robot. So I will put her on life support because I just think that's funny. I think that fits. I don't think she would survive most of this, even though in her own movie she did great, but the only thing she had to survive was an incel. Surviving an incel is not as hard as surviving a demon. So I will put her on life support. Our next final girl is Julie from I Know What You Did Last Summer. Now, Julie, she's not my favorite final girl. She has grief. She is sensitive. She does fight back, but is it just mostly luck what gets her through I Know What You Did Last Summer? Yeah. I don't think she would survive actually any of the other villains, almost any of the villains actually that we have put the other final girls through. So I will have to put her at dead because I just think she's not the strongest, maybe the weakest in this list. Our next final girl is Dana from Cabin in the Woods. So she had to go through multiple villains. She didn't just have one. She had like so many because of, you know, Cabin in the Woods. If you've seen it, you know what I mean. It felt like she had a franchise even though she didn't have a franchise. Anything you can think of, really, she had to battle. So she is very strong for that. Especially towards the end. I really liked her character in the end, especially. But I don't think she's the most final girl. I don't think she's the most expected to survive in my eyes if we put these all together. So for me, she would have to go in Punched. That's where I would put her personally. Then our next final girl is Jessie from Wrong Turn. So Jessie is for me your typical badass 2000s low-rise jeans final girl. I love the trope. It's a good trope. It's fun. Those movies are fun. In the movie itself, I did root for her to survive, but that's for most of the characters in Wrong Turn. I hope for them to survive, which they didn't. But for her, I would have to put her at stat because she did survive cannibals, like very gross cannibals, but I don't think she could survive some of the things that the others could survive. Now our next character is Mia from Evil Dead. For Mia, I mean, I don't have to say a lot, but she literally cut off her own hand to survive. She's literally possessed for a lot of the movie, but she still somehow is the survivor of the movie. That's one final girl if I've ever seen one. I love her as a final girl. I think she's an amazing final girl. This movie itself surprised me so much. For me, she's a very easy final girl, so I'll just put her at final girl because that's where she belongs. Stay there, and I hope she doesn't have to cut off more arms. Our next character is Sienna. Now for Sienna, I feel a bit conflicted because at one hand, she literally survives Art the Clown. Not easily, but she does survive Art the Clown, which is very hard to do because he is a very gruesome demon. But she's also some kind of superhero, which I think is kind of unfair to have superpowers. For me, she's very strong because of her superpowers, but I don't think it's fair that she has superpowers. But she does. So I can't just take that away. But I will have to put Sienna at Punched because I just don't think it's fair that she has superpowers and a lot of these have to use their own physical power and their mind to survive. But she is a very good final girl and survives a lot of stuff. So she has to go and Punched for me. Now our next character is Grace from Ready or Not. Grace, to me, feels like another Erin from Your Next. They remind me of each other. The only thing that's different is Erin is more serious and more quiet. And Grace is more talkative. She's more expressive. She's more emotional. And she's more out there, which I personally prefer. But for me, Grace is another great example of a very good final girl that could stand on her own 2 feet. Even though she might not be technically as strong, for me, she would have to also go and punch. She deserves to be there, even though she might get punched here and there. That's fine. She'd still survive. Our next final girl is Veronica from Heathers. Now, Heathers is one of my favorite movies. She is definitely not the strongest here. She has to only survive a toxic boyfriend. Similar to Companion, but at least that one had a lot more of emotional damage. This one is just very much, she's very messy and she does a lot of her stuff herself. She puts herself in some situations. So I don't think she's the strongest here at all. I don't think she's technically the weakest of them all, but she's definitely not the strongest. So for me, Veronica would be on life support. She might be able to survive, but she will definitely not just get away with a stab or a punch. Now our next final girl is Sidney from Scream. I love Scream. Scream is my favorite movie, so I don't even have to say much, but she keeps surviving Ghostface and she keeps going. She fights even from the first beginning. If we look at Laurie, for example, in Halloween, In the first movie, she wasn't all that. She learned later on through the series of Halloween how to protect herself from Michael. And in the beginning, in my opinion, it was mostly luck what got her to survive. But for Sidney, I think since the first scene with Ghostface, she has been fighting back and making very smart decisions, very snarky, but she's also showing the traumatized side, which I really like. I don't just like the whole badass girl, not scared of anything, not vulnerable at all aspect of some characters and final girls. It's not my thing. So for me, Sidney is a perfect final girl. Perfect mix of badass, smart, vulnerable. So for me, she's definitely going in final girl. I just have to put her there. Now our next character is Adelaide from Us. Adelaide is such a complex character. I really enjoyed the movie. I know there's mixed opinions on it, but for me, wow. I didn't see the twist at the end coming, which I think most of the final girls here also wouldn't see coming. So I think she could very easily outlive maybe most of them. I think she's very strong. I think she's not physically the strongest per se, but mentally, like intellectually, I think she's very strong. And she got away with a lot, and she has survived a lot, and she has been through a lot. So I think for me, she would have to go in punched, because she would, at the end of the day, in my opinion, survive. So our next character is Alice from the original Friday the 13th. I don't like the Friday the 13th movie, like the first one. I think it's very boring. It's not for me. I love a slasher. I love old slashers. That's not a problem for me. One of my favorite slashers is Sleepaway Camp. That's also an old one, so I don't have any issues with old slashers. It's just that I don't like Friday the 13th. And Alice, for me, was also a very forgettable character and final girl. So for me, I don't have to say a lot. For me, she easily goes in dead because of how low stakes the movie felt for me. It didn't feel like she did a lot to even survive. So for me, she's going in dead. Our next character is Whitney from Friday the 13th, 2009. Now this movie is also not per se great. It did entertain me way more than Friday the 13th, the original, because this one was very tacky, very cheesy, very 2000s. She's also not the strongest. I mean, how she survived the whole Jason thing, I know it's a callback, but still, it didn't inspire me personally. So for me, she's just going on life support. I don't think she's dead per se, but I don't think she's strong at all in this list. Now our next character is Gale Weathers from Scream. Gale Weathers, she's a badass, she's snarky, she's sarcastic, she stands on business. Another final girl of the Scream franchise. I know people say it's Sidney in the original, they don't really call out Gale, but I think Gale deserves just as much of the final girl title as Sidney does. So for me, Gale might not be as powerful as Sidney with fighting back. She somehow is more lucky than Sidney is, but for me, she's still a very strong one, and I really like her character. But for me, she's going in punched, because she's also been punched. So I think that also fits Gale a lot. So she's getting punched once again. Now our next character is Sarah. Sarah from The Descent. Now Sarah has been through a lot of trauma with her, you know, the car crash. And then the tunnel system. So she doesn't have the best of friends or husbands. And she has had only trauma happen to her. And then this as well. Shows she has been through a lot. I don't think she's the strongest here. I do think she's strong, especially emotionally. She's very strong emotionally, so I think she can handle a lot. I think her emotional part is her strongest aspect, so she's going in stabbed for me, but she will make it out. Now we have Sam from the other Scream movies. Now for Sam, I think she is very witty and very enduring. She does have her own problems in her head that's really stopping her, but I don't think she has like the ultimate final girl potential. I do think she's a strong character, a strong final girl, but for me she would have to go in, I would say she goes in step, because she does have her own personal turmoil going on, and I think she'll probably spend the whole movie wondering if she's secretly the villain the whole time. Now we have Tara Carpenter. I don't think she's as strong as Sam. I don't think she's a character that's gonna be dead. I'm very surprised how she survived in these movies in the first place. I like the character, don't get me wrong, but I'm very surprised how she has survived these movies. But for me, she's a very easy on life support, because she kind of keeps being on life support. Our next final girl is Rachel from The Ring. She has had a very different villain than the rest of these girls. She has had a very different villain. She had Samara, which is very different than either a regular demon or just a regular guy stabbing people. I mean, she has had like a weird, sad, traumatic girl coming after her to a TV. That's very different. So she has gone through it a lot. I just don't think that the most of the stuff she had to do was finding out how to save the girl and how to stop the curse from going. So she didn't have to, per se, go face to face with Samara a lot. That wasn't like a regular thing for her to do. Like, it's not like she's fighting Samara every act of the movie. So she had a lot of time to just think. So her intellect is definitely there, but I don't think she's the strongest. I do think she might survive. I think she's a stab, but I think it's like, she might not survive. She's not a life support, but she has been stabbed maybe 2 times. Our next character is Nikki from Obsession. Now, Nikki has been through a lot, but the one thing that I have to say about Nikki is most of the movie, she is not in control over her own body and her own mind. She is under a spell. So for Nikki, we don't know a lot. We do see her come through the spell once in a while, so we know she's mentally strong enough to push through sometimes and come out of it, because most of the movie she is cursed. I don't think we have enough to go on, but I did want to add her because I think she's a new final girl in horror now because she did survive. Spoiler alert. So I'm gonna put her in life support because I think that's where she's supposed to go because we don't have enough information. And at the end of the movie, she's, well, barely holding on, obviously, because she's reacting to everything around her. Our next character is Carly from House of Wax. I like House of Wax. I think Carly has Sidney Prescott potential, for example. I think she has a similar type of style. I don't think she's as assertive or as strong as Sidney is, but I do think they have a similar way of going about fighting a villain. So I do think she is strong, but I think at the end of the day she will get stabbed. But I think she might hang in there. She won't be on life support. She will hang in there, but she will get stabbed. Now our next character is Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street, I mean, you have to fight Freddy Krueger. I think that's one of those villains that when I first watched the movie, I was like, I don't know if I would survive this. I don't know. This is very deep because you can't sleep. He's literally coming in your sleep and you'll fall asleep anyway. So he'll still come in your dreams even when you don't realize it. It was very ominous and scary to me. So I think she's a teenage girl who managed to fight off Freddy Krueger, is a very skilled final girl and an ultimate final girl. For me, this is an easy final girl. She's going at the top for me. I think she's very strong. Our next character is Maxine from X. I'm just looking at X for this one, not Maxine, because that's what I'm doing. So Maxine, I think she's very strong-willed. I mean, I will not accept a life I do not deserve. Great. She does survive her movie as the final girl. She is the final girl of X. She survived 2 grandparents, 2 old people who were, one had a heart attack and one was barely walking normally anymore. I don't think she would survive most of the villains that these others have survived. I like Maxine, think she's a cool character. And it's great that she survived X. I just don't think she would survive most of the other ones. So for me, I would unfortunately have to put Maxine at dead because I don't think she's as strong. Now our next character is Dani from Midsommar. Now Dani is very emotionally sensitive. She has been through trauma. Throughout her whole movie, she is needy, vulnerable, traumatized, and looking for love almost anywhere she can find it. So with that mindset, I don't think she's getting far. I think if she pushes through, she might survive, but I think I'll have to put her at dead. I think she seems like someone who might just give up and just accept her fate and just die. Our next character is Sally from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Amazing movie. She is the ultimate fight or flight girl and she chose flight. That girl ran out of there with everything she had. So she did run. She can run and she can escape pretty well, but her fighting and being smart, I haven't seen, not the best. But she did survive, so that's good. I think her strength is just running away, which doesn't work in a lot of situations. But I think she might still survive. I do think she would get stabbed. So for me, Sally, even though I love her character, will go unstabbed. So I just hope she survives the stab. Now our next character is Erin from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake from 2003. She, in my opinion, is a bit more badass than Sally. I think because she also saves the baby in the end, she is more courageous than Sally is. I do think she's also a great runner, a great fighter, but she has a bit more pow to her than Sally had. I also think that writing just changed in like 30 years, so that makes sense as well. In the 2000s, we made character more badass than we did in the 70s, especially women. So that's expected to happen. But for me, she wouldn't be the ultimate final girl or anything, but I do think that she would just get punched and get away with it and survive the rest of the movie. So this was my ranking video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if there's any characters that you don't agree with, let me know where you would rank them in the tier list. And if there's any other ranking videos that you'd like me to do, like which horror movies would I survive, or horror villains, I could also rank those. And if you're interested in anything else, let me know. And I really enjoy making these. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye.